Pecha Kucha 238, 20-second slideshow with 20 slides where I convinced you that I didn't spend my week playing Mount & Blade Warband, I swear. Right, so this is the final Starscream. The image is finished. It's fully coloured. I could do more, but I think I'd be going around in circles. But how did I stay sane this week? Well, I was watching the New Adventures of He-Man. I saw the worst episode I've ever seen, where 4 different characters in the show make up a story, except the joke is it actually happened. The less said about it, the better. But yeah, this guy was wearing Napoleon thigh-highs in his version of his own story. But then I saw the best episode I've ever seen, where a real villain shows up. Skeletor literally taps out when this guy shows up and gets in a ship and flies away 5 minutes into the episode. And then this guy is trying to gain absolute power and blah, blah, blah. And then he vanishes into the night. But enough of that. It doesn't matter, and it wasn't good anyway. So this is where we were last week. Starscream playing with his real He-Man toys. Maybe that's the joke I should put into this, because I haven't actually decided to put a speech bubble with Starscream making a joke in at all. Because I don't care. I'm not posting this anywhere for quite some time. I'll sort it out before I do it. So I'm using the Scott Harris methods that he's been showing me in the Udemy course I did. Start with a 50% grey layer and then add neutral colours on top of that. So while Starscream really has a fire truck red, that's not what I led with. It's a far more kind of neutral, a little bit more greyish red, which hopefully is going to turn out quite nice in the end. And then so, you've always got to do the flat colours. This is the thing that takes all the time. I've done the red, I'm doing the grey. I'm realising Starscream's got actually quite a lot of greys as well as like quite bright, well, literally primary colours. He's red, white and blue and grey with a little bit of yellow. Sorry, what did I say the primary colours were? The primary colours are red, yellow and blue. Okay, maybe I need some more sleep here, okay? Right, so I've kind of greyed in his face. I'm worried that maybe his helmet's a bit too dark, but who can really tell? One of my monitors is just too bright anyway. The background, I imagine, is the starship from the 80s cartoon. It's purple, it's underwater. I haven't referenced it, but I'm pretty sure this is a appropriate shade of purple. And then really flattening in Megatron, this kind of sums up my feeling on doing this base colouring. It's very obvious for me to see where I've gone over his line work or under it, and having to constantly fix all those little niggling gaps. You've got to do it, but I don't care for it. But once you get all that stuff out the way, you can get to the fun stuff. So once I'm getting to the background elements and I've done Soundwave, I'm bringing out the airbrush and we can start trying to make the view screen in the background kind of have a little bit of a luminescent glow. And then I can actually colour in bits of the background to kind of just make it more interesting and chime in with what I think it should be, but in a non-committal way. There's no referencing to this. I just think that as long as I fill in the white space, it'll be fine. And so now I'm airbrushing Starscream's face, the only bit of actual kind of not flat planes in the entire image. I've been told to go subtle on these things, and grey on grey, I don't know how subtle you can go. I try not to worry about it too much. And at this point, I'm just taking stock of how I think everything looks. And I'm pretty happy with it, to be honest. I think the background, that purple, is working for me. I think even though Starscream's maybe a little less bright than I would have thought he would be, there's enough brightness in this image. I think it's working out quite well. And Scott Harris recommends that you kind of check your work in grayscale as you're going through it. I'm still not really sure what I should be looking for, because I feel like the best thing for this is for lighting and for high contrast lighting, which I think is the coolest. But it's also the thing I have the least experience with. But speaking of lighting, this is where I decide to add I'm adding my secondary light really before I've established a primary light. So the view screen in the background, I want to get a bit of blue glow on the back of Starscream, on the back of everybody really. It's very noticeable on Soundwave's shoulder may be too noticeable as I'm just kind of airbrushing this on top. Because the toys are toys, and I don't want them to look like Starscream's playing with actually He-Man and Skeletor. I've tried to kind of make them overly shiny, like they're made of plastic. But again, this isn't something that I want to dedicate the rest of my life to. So I've picked a few points to do highlights, really more than you ought to. And I think that is really where I feel like I can say this is done, but I feel like it's missing something, but I don't know what it's missing. This is the kind of thing that comes with time, experience, and looking at reference work and trial and error. I decide, because I've kind of been in a conversation with someone the whole time I've been doing this on Skype, and they mentioned using like a certain multiply layer, add glow layer, to add a little bit of like a side light, some kind of yellow, almost festive thing, and I really do like how it looks on Starscream's eyes. And then I add luminescence to Megatron and all of his I guess they're not buttons or whatever the fuck they are, the buttons in the background, and then I add secondary light glare on Soundwave's visor. And that basically sums up where I am. Also, you can see that there is a bit of side lighting on Starscream's hands. That is the same yellow that is on Starscream's helmet, but because of the layer settings, that's how it's interacted with those two different colors, the blue and the gray underneath. So here's where we are. One day this will go on Tumblr, but I'm really adverse to interacting with social media at all right now. There has to be a very significant reason I'm watching this fucking awful He-Man cartoon, and that's really what it is. Even YouTube is quote unquote toxic right now. I need to detox with something utterly lacking in venom, and that is what that cartoon is. Yeah, so I don't know what's coming next week. I've enjoyed very much the creation of this line work, the complexity of the forms. It looks like I know what I'm doing. It doesn't feel like it, but I should really just give myself the benefit of the doubt. It's turned out quite well. We'll see what comes next. That's the end of Pecha Kucha 238, and I will see you next time.